The second half of Corneliu Porumboiu's dark comedy, 1208 East of Bucharest, is dedicated to a delightfully shoddy television broadcast. It's the 16th anniversary of the Romanian Revolution, and three men, along with their call-in viewers, argue about what part they and their small town might have played in the movement that overthrew communist dictator Nicolae Ceausescu. The 2006 film, which in Romanian is titled A fost sau n-a fost, was there or wasn't there, also seems to pose the question of whether the Romanian Revolution really happened at all. Porumboiu's feature is firmly ensconced in the movement retroactively called the Romanian New Wave, a term used to designate the crop of starkly realistic, often darkly funny films which began to come from Romania in the early 2000s. Pioneered by directors such as Porumboiu, Cristian Mungu, and Cristi Piu, many of these films deal directly or indirectly with Romania's communist history. Whether by having their characters literally subject their past to a comical cross-examination, as in 1208, or by examining the moral failings of the post-1989 generation, as in Mungu's Graduation, the directors of the Romanian New Wave seek to interrogate their histories and question how their society has improved since the revolution of 1989. This essay will use these two films, released a decade apart from one another, to examine how the Romanian New Wave cinema continues to deal with its communist past and corrupt present. Stylistically, both 1208 East of Bucharest and Graduation adhere to the minimal and understated filmic language that has become a hallmark of the New Wave in Romania. 1208's camera is patient and still. It doesn't get too close to the characters, but seems to watch from an objective, perhaps respectful distance. Graduation's camera is mobile, handheld even, which gives the film its own kind of documentary realism. Both films use a muted color palette. Additionally, both films rely on natural, or at the very least naturalistic, lighting. Why tell stories in this way? Like many cinematic new waves, the new filmic style that developed in Romania after 2000 was precipitated by major socio-political change. In this case, the move from being a communist dictatorship to a capitalist country. Porumboiu, Mungu, and several of their contemporaries reacted with films that avoided grandiose metaphor, and in every sense embraced the untidiness of the real. Takes are long, allowing the viewer to settle into the film's mise-en-scène and alongside the actors inhabit its empty spaces and dead time. Created as an antithesis to propaganda, these techniques avoid preachiness and allow for a moral complexity to take shape.
Sunt unele lucruri importante în viață care depind de foarte puțin. Și anumite momente nu trebuie pierdute.
1208 also outlines generational differences between those raised under communism and those with little to no memory of Ceausescu's regime, using this contrast to question whether anything has changed in Romania at all. The post-revolutionary in-between generation, desiring to change things but not sure how, is a long-standing fixation of the Romanian New Wave. This theme is a more obvious one in Mungu's Graduation. When his daughter Eliza, played by Maria Dragos, a top student about to go to university in the UK, is attacked the day before an important exam, Romeo, played by Adrian Titiani, reluctantly arranges for her final grades to be rigged. Ironically, we come to understand that Romeo views his daughter's opportunities abroad as an escape from the corruption and general backwardness he observes in Romania. Mungu, in a recent interview with the Washington Post, addressed the moral quandary of raising a child by example amid the dysfunction of contemporary Romania. In a discussion of Graduation, he offered this anecdote. I'm taking my children to school every day, and because the traffic in Bucharest is awful, if I stop where I should at this intersection, I will never get to the school because all the cars are going to cut in front of me, so I have to interrupt this other lane, which is a way of making a statement in front of your children about incorrectness as a mechanism of survival. The film is a meditation on whether it's possible to raise a child in this country completely aside from any corruption. Children are not raised by what you tell them, but by all the small decisions you make. Graduation's handling of this subject makes it one of the new waves more accessible. Graduation also allows a sliver of hope for the future. Corruption is still rampant, but young people have some kind of moral compass, even if it's misguided. Eliza resists cheating, then cheats in a less egregious way, instead of allowing her results to be rigged, as her father intended. She sheds a few tears and is allowed a bit more time on her exam. Released a decade apart, 1208 East of Bucharest and Graduation are slow-building and understated examinations of a society that is reluctant to change its ways in the wake of a revolution. Both films pose the question of whether or not anything has changed since the revolution of 1989. 1208 repeatedly asked, was there or wasn't there, quite directly. Graduation doesn't resolve so much as complicate the issue of whether the revolution has changed anything for the better. It's hard to make a definitive conclusion here, because the films of the New Wave actively resist that kind of analysis. They are the anti-fable. No character really represents their country, their generation, communism, capitalism, or some other abstract concept. Rather, what these films continue to do is use the subject of post-revolutionary social change to turn the viewer inward, forcing us to make our own judgments of the characters and of ourselves.